All right, everybody. I have a lot of things that we just need to go over today just to make sure that everybody's on the same page. Some of this is old hat to some of you. Some of you, you may have some new ahas today as we continue to get questions about things that I thought, there was common understanding on, but there does not seem to be. So we're going to go over some of those kinds of things, and then we're going to take whatever time is needed at the end of this to answer whatever questions you may have. So once again, I want to remind you that the provider handbook is your friend. It is up on the UPK provider page. Also, a link to the family handbook is up on that page too. It is updated regularly, and the link on the UPK page takes you to the latest version of the guide. And in many cases, it gives you step-by-step instructions, but folks are always pointing something up to me that they need to be able to know how to do that isn't in there. So when you don't find something in there that you need to know how to do, I would appreciate it if you would let me know because I do send those up to the state. The one of them was, 3, 4 weeks ago, and I don't even know if it's been put in there. There was no information about how to unenroll a child. Well, you guys all are in a situation where you have to know how to unenroll a child. So, yeah. Um, Angela, can you do me a great big favor and send the Zoom link to Renee Green? It's Renee, Renee, at, I think it's VCA. I don't know if it's VCA. Anyway, it's Valley Christian Academy.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. And if you can't find it, I'll look it up, but yeah, evidently she can't find it. Okay. So do let me know if there are things in the provider guide that are missing or are unclear, so that we can get those set up as much as possible. All right. This is another thing that is kind of interesting to me is we have a lot of providers that information is going out regularly to you, but somehow or another you're missing it. So it's really, really important that you understand the things that are coming out to you and do the very best you can to prioritize what you read because I know you all have limited time. And in many cases, the things that are coming out to you are not coming out to us at the same time, or sometimes not at all as the LCO. So if you don't read the stuff, then that's an issue. So emails come to you from CDEC, they come to you from Bridge Care, and they come to you from the state's vendors or departments, such as the State Procurement Office or Metrics IQ. You'll also receive emails from us at Joint Initiatives, either JI staff members or consultants like me. And there are other departments at JI with whom you interact that will also send you emails that are important to your business. So they may be licensing kinds of things, they may be CCAP kinds of things, they may be opportunities to apply for a grant, something of that sort. So anything coming from joint initiatives, you should make sure it gets through to your inbox. All formal agreements for both CDEC and JI are coming through DocuSign, so you need to make sure that DocuSign comes through to you. CDEC and JI have newsletters that come through various platforms. They're not all the same, unfortunately. JI often uses Constant Contact. What else do we use, Angela, that needs to be looked for?
I would say primarily constant contact and then the UPK email. So yes.
Yeah, okay. Um, so I ask you to please be sure that you check your junk regularly and allow these emails to come through to your inbox. I don't know how to do it, but Google is your friend also in terms of making sure that you know with your particular provider how to make sure that emails that are going into your junk are actually coming through to you. And please at least scan the emails that do come through to your inbox and make sure that the information in there doesn't apply to you, or that you're like, okay, I need to save this so that I can read it more carefully after kids have gone home or something of that sort. We promise that we will keep our emails to a minimum and mark the must read so that you can prioritize, though. I can't speak on behalf of the state. I know you get a lot. I know that. But the information that the state is sending out to you and that we are trying to send out to you is stuff that you need to know. So please pay attention and try to make sure that that those are coming through. And please check your junk regularly. And then if you send them through to your inbox, then you won't have to check your junk quite as regularly. Okay, let's talk about reviewing enrollments. So at least monthly, review your enrollments in your programs to be sure that the students you are reporting as being enrolled are actually attending your program. You must unenroll a child within 1 week of their last day. It would be preferably within 1 day of their last day, because if a child is moving between locations, they can't be enrolled in the new location until they have been unenrolled from the previous location. So, if you are saying, hey, I know this child is moving on to another location, just wanted you to know that. If you take responsibility for unenrolling that family on the last day, then we don't have to go back to you and say, hey, please get this family unenrolled because they're moving and they're going to a new location. If you don't know that they're moving, we always tell the parent that they have to contact you and ask you to unenroll them, because we're not unenrolling families unless you know that the provider, that the family is moving. So, and then we need you to check your selected list regularly so you can reach out to families who might be interested in your program, so that you can manage a wait list in case you have openings, or so that if you do have openings, that's where you're going to go to find families who are interested in you. Um, it is important that if you do have openings in programs, that you're looking at those selected lists, because kids are coming in all the time. Okay. And so we're a heavily mobile community, as we all know. And so they fill out an application and we don't get notified that the JI doesn't get notified that there's a new application. Okay. They're choosing you, and they can choose up to two right now. So if you're not checking your selected list, and you have open seats, you're missing out on an opportunity to potentially have a child enrolled with you. All right, let's go over viewing eligibility hours. Again, this is something that was not available to you up until about 3 or 4 weeks ago, but it is now, and so it would be great if you used it. Now, there seems to be some kind of misunderstanding here about what a program, what a child is eligible for versus the program that they are enrolled in. So we're going to go back to some basics here. All eligible children who are age 4 but not 5 by October 1 of 2024, this past October, unless the school district has a different cutoff date, which there are a few, but not many. All of them are eligible for 15 hours per week free, regardless of the program in which they are enrolled. Okay, so you can count on the fact that every 4-year-old is eligible for 15 hours per week free. So even if the child is enrolled in a full day program, they may only be eligible for 15 hours per week, and the provider will charge the family for the remaining hours. So just because they're enrolled in a full day program does not mean that they're eligible for 30 hours per week free. All right. So some children are eligible for 30 hours per week, And to take advantage of those 30 hours, that child must be enrolled in a fuller extended day program. So when you think about this, if a family is eligible for 30 hours and they're only attending half day, the state is not going to pay you for 30 hours when you're only providing them services for 15 hours. So they'll pay you for the 30 hours if the child is eligible for that, but only if you're providing at least 30 hours of care for that child. So they have to be enrolled in a full day program in order to take advantage of the 30 hours if they are eligible. So in the provider guide, it talks about what makes a child eligible for 30 hours per week. Living in poverty is one thing automatically. And then if they're between 100% and 270% of poverty, they have to have one additional eligibility factor, which are outlined in the provider guide. And anyone who is above 270% cannot be eligible for 30 hours per week free, period. They're only eligible for 15. Okay? All right, so double check to be sure that you are charging the family the correct tuition for additional hours. And once again, that tuition is posted on your profile. Okay? So here's how you know if a child is eligible for more hours. So there's a student enrollment download on your dashboard. So at any point, you can go on your dashboard and you can download information on the students that you have enrolled. One of the columns in there is entitled Child Eligibility Hours per Week. Okay. And so here are what will be in there. And what the child is eligible for is the highest one that's in there. So 10 hours per week is only going to be for kids who are enrolled in a part day program or 3-year-olds. You're not going to see that otherwise. Okay. Every child is eligible for 15 if they want to take advantage of it. Some children are eligible for 30. So if you see 30 hours per week in that column, that family is eligible for 30 hours. If you do not see it in that column, they are only eligible for 15. So to pull the report, go to the student tab first, then click on the 3 dots to download the enrollment report. And once in the report, you can find the information in column M. It's always kept up to date with the most recent information from the family submitted application. You may have situations in which a family is not sure what they're eligible for. You don't want to offer them a spot until you know what they're eligible for. I do not know if you can actually see kids that are in selected status with you. I don't believe you can. So you are free to send us a quick email and say, hey, I need to know the eligibility for this child. And at that point, we can look it up for you and we can say they're going to be eligible for 15 or they're going to be eligible for 30. And then you can work with the family with regard to that. I want that via email, please, either to myself or to upk@jointinitiatives.org. We're happy to look it up for you. Make sure that the child's name is spelled correctly, and UPK requests the legal name of the child. Okay, so no nicknames or anything of that sort makes it harder for us. I don't know about you, but autocorrect is not my friend. So when you are typing in a name and it is not a common name, make sure it was not auto-corrected. It takes us 3 times longer to find a kid if the name is spelled incorrectly. So please make sure the name is spelled correctly. All right, so that's how you can look up eligibility, and we're here to support you on that. Okay, our ever popular questions about payment issues. Once again, we cannot do anything about payment issues. There is a vendor, Metrics IQ, who is the payment vendor, and they are the only ones that can resolve your payment issue. Okay, so I now have access to payment reports which I can look to see what you were paid for a particular child. And then I can go back and say, well, this is the reason you were not paid what you thought you were going to be paid for this child, so that you don't have to open up a ticket with metrics. But if one of us comes back and says, no, you should have been paid, or you think you should have been paid, I need you to immediately open up a ticket. So you can either do it at Colorado CO UPK payments at metricsiq.com, or there's this other link here, which is a Zendesk link, and provide as much information as you can about the issue. Request a ticket ID, and here's why. Um, if you do not get a response from them, and we, the LCO, has to escalate this to get it resolved, we can't do it without a metrics ID ticket number. So I have one provider that I'm working with right now that should have been paid and has not been paid. And the person from metrics who responded to her, there was no metrics ticket. So now she has to go back and do it again to get a ticket number so that I can then follow up on it if necessary. So don't let them off the hook until you get a ticket number. Okay. Remember that it may take a few days for your bank to access the ACH deposit, so please plan accordingly and make sure you keep your banking information up to date with Metrics IQ. All right, so submit that ticket. You're free to reach out to us at the same time, but submit the ticket and make sure you get a ticket number. All right, these are the slides that came from the state for our October meetings. So we're gonna go over some quality standards, but I will tell you if they're not already. Angela, have you posted these slides already? You're muted, babe.
We have the direct enrollment, but we do not have these specific slides.
So the UPK roundtable slides that I sent you yesterday, did you post?
Oh, yes, I can do that right away while we're on the.
Okay, so these are going to be posted on JI's UPK page, so you can review these in your own time, but we're going to go over them quickly here. So there is an overview of the UPK quality standards, and kind of what's going on with those and what the basis was of the quality standards. So talks about basic eligibility, meeting the minimum instruction hours of 360 hours of instructional time per school year, and then you adjust hours based on the child's enrollment date mid-year if you need to. And remembering that the 360 hours is for families who are only eligible for 10 hours per week. Anything above that is 15 times 36 or 30 times 36. And the preview of 25 and 26 beyond here is all about teacher and child ratios and group sizes. So you can read that. Basically, what this is saying is that if you are a 1 through, I believe, 3, you're going to have to follow these ratios. If you're a 4 or 5 in shines, then you're going to get some exceptions there. So you want to keep working to increase your shines rating, and JI has support for that. And then the qualifications for lead teachers are there. Right now, as you all know, this is based on licensing standards for this particular year. And then next year's there's some instructional practice stuff that's going into effect, and so you want to make sure that you're reading these and that you're understanding that there are certain things that are going to go into effect for July 1 of 2025. Healthy development, we actually have some confusion out there as to when. Well, no, that's the wrong thing. Never mind. These are the these are around voluntary developmental screening services, referrals for specialized services, and translation services that are going to into effect July 1, 2025. And all of these are there's a 6 month on ramp for a lot of these. So just make sure that you're referring to this and making sure that you're understanding what the timelines are. Uh, so family engagement, we're in that now. Unfortunately, the yeah, what's it called? Uh, the information portal for quality standards is not up yet. It's not going to be up until January. So if you need some support on these, you can reach out to us, or you can wait until January, and we'll see what is in the quality standards information portal. Professional development requirements are here. And then, yeah. And then in general, the implementation support here, that's what it's called, the resource bank. The UPK Resource Bank, Colorado Shines, and we as LCOs will be continuing to support you in implementing quality standards. So again, these slides are up and you can take a look at those. All right, let's go on to 25-26 calendar. So, by the way, this calendar announcement is also up on the JIUPK page. There's a link there to that bulletin that was there. It basically says this. So we're going to go over this and make sure that everyone understands what is in front of us in terms of timing. So right now, we are in provider seat and program setup. Okay. That runs through the first round, runs through November 8th. So we would like all of you, if you're participating in UPK in 25-26, to get your setup forms in by no later than November 8th. We will be following up with you. It will either be by email or it will be by a call to make sure that we understand and you understand what you put in that setup form so that the numbers and the programs are as correct as they can possibly be the first time around. We know things change, but where you are right now is what needs to what needs to go in there, and then we can change things later. That is the basis of what will be uploaded for families for the December 17th open of enrollment. So if you do your setup form after November the 8th, you will still be published, but it will not be until January sometime. So if you want to take advantage of having families be able to find you, whether or not they're eligible for pre-registration, on December 17th and after, you have to have your setup form in by November 8th. So pre-registration opens pre-registration and family registration period opens on December 17th. Pre-registration runs through February 3rd. So during that time, families who have priority for pre-registration, meaning they have a child who is currently attending with you, they have a sibling who is currently attending with you, or a family that you have a history of serving, or a child of an employee at your center or home, they have priority status as long as you're honoring all three of those. If you, such as a school district, are only honoring pre-registration for those families who have a child who is currently attending as a 3-year-old, then you need to make sure that that not only goes up on your profile for UPK, but that it is also on whatever other information you are putting out, a website or something of that sort, so that families are clearly notified that you are only accepting pre-registration for families who meet this qualification. You have the right to do that, but you have got to make sure that families are aware of it. Okay. So they are going to, so a family who wants to take advantage of pre-registration with you, um, your center or program must be in their first choice. They can add other choices if they want to, but yours has to be first. And then when they answer the pre-registration questions, it has to match the program that is in first in order for you to get it. Okay. They can still put other ones in there. So if they change their mind and you send them a match for pre-registration and they say, no, that's not what I want to do, and they decline it, then their other choices will go into the algorithm later. Okay. But uh, if they want to take advantage of it and it's going to go to you to be able to see the pre-registration, you have to be their first choice, and the continuity of care question has to be answered with you in there. Okay. And then at that point, during every day from December 17th to February 3rd, you're going to get the pre-registration matches that have come in for you. So those that have put you first and have said that they have priority with you. And then you're going to review those, and you're going to either say, yes, they do have priority, and you're going to send them a match, or you're going to decline them because they don't have priority. So there are certain declinations during that time that you can only use during pre-registration. And one of them is, no, this child is not currently attending with us. No, this child does not have a sibling here, or whatever the case may be, if in fact they do not have priority status with you. Okay. So February 3rd, um, there's still going to be a couple of days for you to receive matches and look them over and make sure that they are, that you want to offer them a priority seat. And then February 3rd through 10th, all of those are going to go to families to accept their pre-registration matches. So, quite frankly, you could wait until February 2nd to review all of your pre-registration and decides which ones you're going to accept and which ones you're not. Not what I would do, but you certainly can do that if you want to. So those matches are not going to priority families until February 3rd, and they will have until the 3rd through the 10th to accept pre-registration matches. At that point, pre-registration is over. Continuity of care no longer matters. Okay. So any and all of the rest of the seats that you have open will be at that point through family matching. So you're going to have a chance from February 4th to February 9th to adjust the numbers of seats and programs that you want to, based on how things went with your pre-registration, how many seats you still have open, etc. And I am very sure by then that you're going to have the ability to do that yourself, to change your seats yourself in the portal. Okay. We will monitor that to make sure that you're not going over your license capacity and things of that sort. But I think you're going to have the right to do that on your own. So, any family who does not have priority status that has registered between December 17th and February 5th, they will be in the first round of matching, which happens on February 10th. And so that DAA will run on February the 10th, and you will get matches on February 12th, and you will have the opportunity between the 12th and the 21st to review and accept or decline your matches. And again, you are only able to decline matches during the matching process if you have an exception that has been approved in your setup form. That's the only reason you're allowed to decline matches. Okay. And then February 24th, the first round families will be notified of their matches, and the families must accept or decline by March 3rd. And then March 10th, the second round of matching happens, and the same process happens for the second time around. And direct enrollment for non-IEP kiddos will start April 1 this year. So we're in direct enrollment now for 24-25, and will remain in direct enrollment for this program year. But for the 25-26 program year, direct enrollment will start on April the 1st and will go the entire way through the school year. So there's two matching rounds. They're going to be very early. And then as of April 1st, whatever seats you have left is between you and the family with our support, and get you in. And IEP March through the end of the 25-26 school year, AUs are working with CDAC to place children with IEPs. Okay, so there's going to be more guidance coming out, that the things that I just told you about how this is going to work will be in writing for you to go back and review. It will be in your provider handbook again. But that's how the process is going to work. Okay. Most important thing for you to be concerned about right now, if you have not already done it, get your setup forms in. Okay. November the 8th. You will be getting, I am told, a weekly email from CDEC reminding you to get your setup forms in. Okay. And we will pester you also. All right. Provider profiles. So we are going to have a special virtual training on profile setup. And it's going to be December 5th at 6 p.m. We are doing it virtually. Any provider who would like tips and support in setting up your profile to draw attention of UPK parents and families, you are welcome to attend. Angela McGibbon, our JI Communications Manager, will be there. Claire Sanderson is the marketing manager at CPCD, giving children a head start, and has been very successful in setting up profiles to attract families. And we are also going to invite one or two parents to let you know what they would like to see on your profile, the kind of information that they would like to see. And then we also are going to ask you to share with each other in terms of what's worked for you and what hasn't worked for you. We're going to go over what is mandatory on your profiles, and then the kinds of things that you can do to help market yourself. So if you are interested in attending that, please put that on your calendar. More information will be coming along with the Zoom link as we get closer to that time. Okay, provider resources. These are the ones from the state, as you already are aware. These are the ones from JI. Remember that we do have a UPK page. Angela is in the process of setting up a separate family/parent UPK page that you can send parents to if need be. We're going to separate out the provider information from the family information. But there will be a link on the provider one to the family page so that you can jump to that if necessary. But we're going to try and make this a little bit more both provider and family friendly to find the information you need. Remember that our roundtables are held monthly. We have a UPK and provider newsletters. So there's various kinds of newsletters that JI puts out that is not just UPK centered. But then, of course, only once a month are we putting out the UPK newsletter. We've gone to mostly weekly emails now beyond that, because I found we get a better response to the emails than we do the newsletter. So I want to make sure that that you're getting the information you need. And of course, we have our wonderful people in the JI office, Heather, Carla, and myself. I'm going to stop sharing now and we can go back to a screen if we need to. So let's talk questions. Let's see here, just a second. All right, direct enrollment question. I have contacted families on my wait list, selected status to let them know I have an open seat. These families have not responded. What decline reason can I use? Um, if they haven't responded, send it to us and we will withdraw the selected. I don't want you to decline them because they haven't responded. I'd rather do a withdrawal for those. And then we put a note in there that says unresponsive to Tri-Lakes. And so if anybody's looking, then, and if you're the only choice that they have made, we're probably going to withdraw the application too.
Okay, thank you so much.
You're welcome. The roundtable slides for today are on the UPK page. There you go. Thanks, Angela. All right, who has questions, concerns, anything that wasn't clear? Anybody having any problems with their setup forms?
No, but I do have a question.
Okay.
Because this has come up a lot when when providers are talking amongst themselves. The when parents are enrolling like now, that so let's say somebody calls me next week and wants to start November 1st.
Right.
I get paid I'll get paid the entire month if they start, say, on the 1st, right? Because that'll get pulled the last day of the month,
Right.
correct? So what happens if it's the middle of the month and they've spent 2 weeks at one and 2 weeks at another?
Yeah. Um, those are being handled separately by CDEC with regard to that. But, in general, you know what, Sharon, I'm not gonna say something that I don't know to be true. Um,
Okay.
so let me submit that for clarification up to
Yeah.
state and ask the question. And then I will get it included in the next email that we send out.
Yeah, I just kind of want to know that going into opening up more seats, like what I would need to talk to the parents about. Okay.
Right. Yeah, I'm going to have to ask because it is my understanding that they're only paying in full months except for August. Okay.
That's what I've been told.
But I also do know that they have been trying to figure out whether or not they should be doing any kind of split month and what that should look like. So before I say, well, this is what I think is happening, and then there's discussions that are happening up there and I find out that that's not what's happening at all, I would rather ask. So
Okay. Sounds
I'm
good.
going to ask and then we'll see from there.
And then I did have a little tidbit that might help some of the people that are not getting the emails that you didn't mention. So it's up to you if you want me to talk about it.
Go ahead, please.
So every email program has an address book. Add those addresses to your address book and it will get dropped into the inbox most of the time. Most of the time. Not all the time. But I had to go in and manually add metrics, add all their various different addresses. I've had to add in joint initiatives, CDEC. I've had to add all of them in, and I get the emails.
Okay,
So,
thank you. See, that's
yeah.
a way to make sure that they're coming through to you. So,
Yep.
good tip. All right, we have a question here. If we don't know our 25-26 start date, can we put in a guess now and modify it later? Yes. So there's two ways to handle that. You can either use the start date that you used for this year, but it obviously has to be 2025. So let's say you started on August 15th and August 15th is still a business date, if you will, a Monday through Friday. You can put August 15th in there, but you have to put 2025. I believe it or not, I actually have gotten startup forms that the start date is October 15th of 2024. So, I have to go back and say, no, 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 we're talking about 25, 26. Just take a guess as to what your start date is, put it in there, and we'll adjust it later if we need to. Okay? So, does that answer your question? Okay. Anyone else have any other questions? All right, so the challenge moving forward is the fact that we're starting pretty early and getting 25, 26 set up, and yet you're still running 24, 25, right? And so you got to be really, really careful about what you're doing. So your profiles are unlocked, and I mean the parts that are unlocked are always unlocked, and you can change your profiles. But as of December 17th, when you're out there, or you're published and you're out there for families, if you're going to make a change for 25, 26, you're going to need to delineate in your profile. This is what we're doing for this year for any of you who are coming in now. Okay. And then for 25, 26, we're doing this. Okay. And you're going to have to make it really clear in there, and you're going to have to delineate. And then after, 24, 25 is over, you can get rid of that part in the profile and only deal with 25, 26. Okay. But you're going to have to delineate in your profile between this is what we're doing now, this is the change we're making for 25, 26, and make it really, really clear in there. Okay. What else? Anything else?
Hi, Noreen. This is Jennifer. I sent a message, but also I just wanted to confirm, just for someone that for District 20, the first round is only for continued, for the returning students for District 20. For our 3-year-olds going to the moving up to 4-year-old program. And then the second round is for the new 4-year-olds, correct?
I'm
Or am
confused.
I getting that wrong?
I'm confused with your question, so I'm just going to go back and say what is, and hope that this will answer your question. Okay, so so every family, any family, can fill out the application beginning December 17th. Whether or not they are eligible for priority registration, any family can go in and fill out the application. Excuse me. If they are eligible for priority registration, then they have to put that provider in their first choice. And then they have to answer the questions in the application of, where is this child currently attending? Where is this child, is there a provider? Whatever the question is asked, it's going to be the same as it was last year. And they have to fill that in, and they have to say that their first person, that the provider that was ranked first, that has to be match the continuity of care answer.
Right.
Okay. So there is no matching until February the 10th. So anything that is happening between December 17th and February the 3rd is only those that are saying that they have priority, that they have access, that they should have priority. Okay.
Okay.
And then after that, the matching is the 2 rounds of matching are for anybody who didn't get a priority seat or isn't eligible for one.
Okay. Okay. I was just a bit confused, and I just wanted to make sure. I appreciate you clarifying that.
Yep. Go back and look at the information that's on the UPK page in terms of the calendar. I think it makes it fairly clear as to what's happening in each one of the timeframes.
Okay, okay. I appreciate that.
Mhm. Melanie?
Hi, Noreen. I know that there's going to be a meeting coming up soon about the expenditure report, but I was wondering if there's any information you can give us now regarding what the expectation is going to be.
What I can tell you is that the date has been pushed back to December 15th for when those are due. Um, I also know that there are that what they're going to want from you is a summary of how you spent the UPK money, basically, in broad categories. Okay. So
Okay.
so you need to they need to make sure that the money that you are spending is spent in allowable ways. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's a little bit more tricky for family childcare teachers because you're paying yourselves, right?
Right. Right.
Right. And so you don't have necessarily a personnel cost per se. But any of the money that so first you're going to account for the money that you spent on like food and instructional supplies and utilities and those kinds of things in order to run your business, right? And then
Okay.
anything is left over, you paid yourself.
Okay.
All right. And so that's your personal income,
Okay. Yeah.
right? So don't get too wrapped up in thinking that, as Sandra's husband Brad said, do I need to tell them that with the money that I paid myself that I bought, a bar of Dove soap? No. Uh, the money that all you need to account for is the money that you spent for your business as part of the allowable expenses. And then anything left over, you've paid yourself, and that's your personal income.
Okay. We run multiple businesses out of our home, so we claim portions out of multiple businesses. So it might have to just be very creative how I input those numbers to make it make sense, I guess.
Yeah. And if you need further assistance with that after you get guidance from the state, we'll set up a time to talk.
Thank you, Noreen.
Yep. Anyone else have any questions at this point? Are you feeling relatively comfortable?
I personally am very happy with the new timeline, even though it's crunch time right now. Like, I think that is way better for all of us in the long run.
Okay. Last night, there was some confusion about, last night was the state meeting. At the very end, there were some questions asked about the payment schedule. And evidently, some LCOs are giving out inaccurate information with regard to that. It was not explained last evening because there was not time to do that. So if you were on that call last evening, or if you are confused about the payment schedule and how it's working for this year, you can stay on at the end of the call. We'll keep the recording going so that it's actually recorded. And I will answer your questions and give you an explanation. Okay? All right. Do we have any other questions in general at this point? Okay,
I
thank
do
you
have
very
one more. I'm sorry. Is there a set Friday? There probably is for these. Is it a certain Friday of the month for these roundtables?
now.
Not necessarily. Okay. So I can't like put them ahead. Okay.
Now, I'm sorry. We're trying to do them
Okay.
Thursday, Friday kind of thing, with Thursday
Mhm.
evening being the the 6 o'clock one and the Friday would either be 11 or 1. But some of it has to do with what the state does to us, I mean, I wish we could. We're working on um, the third Thursday and Friday, but that it will not always be that, obviously, and particularly with November
Okay.
and December coming up. So,
Right. Okay, thanks.
all
I
right.
have one last question too.
Sure.
I don't think that got answered I just sent a private message. Uh, wasn't there a meeting scheduled to help us with that report that's due? I guess I thought that was going to be today.
No, the report that's due that's the expenditure report that we were just talking about. That has been pushed back to December 15th in terms of the deadline, and the state has not set up those TA sessions yet.
Okay, so I just watch for emails from you to learn those dates.
Yes, and the state, one or the other.
Okay, thanks.
You're gonna get them from both of us, so,
That's all right. That's better to not miss them.
yep.
Okay,
Okay,
thanks.
thank you. All right, everybody, if you want an explanation for the payment piece, or you have a specific question that you would like addressed, stay on. We'll take care of the payment piece first, and then I'll stop the recording and I'll take care of anybody else who has specific questions. Thank you all. Okay, let's talk about payment. So last night on the call, the question was raised about what happens with a with so originally the payment schedule that was put out um, was changed, and it was changed to say that families who were enrolled by August 1, that the provider would receive a prepayment on August 15th. Other than that, they are paying in arrears. Okay. So anyone who was enrolled after August 1st, the provider was paid on September 15th. And they were also paid again for those who were enrolled as of August 1st. So for some families, there was a double payment made in August. So there was a full payment for those who were enrolled before August 1, and there was a full payment for those who were after August 1 for August. And then from there on in, they are paying in arrears. So a full August payment was made for on September 15th. A full September payment was made on October 15th, etc. So the question was, what happens if the family was not enrolled by August 1? And so the provider did not get a prepayment. What happens there? And so there seemed to be some confusion about whether there was only going to be 9 payments for some kids or whether there was going to be 10. So for all children who were enrolled for the entire year, there will be 10 payments. Okay. So you may have gotten 2 payments in August or for August, basically. And what that means is the May payment that will be made in the end of May is where the adjustment will be made. So that nobody gets 11 payments and nobody gets 9 payments. Okay? Everybody is going to get 10. It's just a matter of whether you've already gotten to a payment additionally, because the child was enrolled by August 1, and therefore your May payment that you would get at the end of May will be adjusted, or you may not get it for that child because you've already been paid 10 times. Okay. So you're only going to get 10 payments per child, not 11, and not 9. All right. So, again, if need be, I can try and write it out and make it available up on the UPK page to be able to say, here's one scenario, here's the second scenario, and try and put it up there for you so that you can see it and understand. But you're going to have to go through and look at each one of your children. And if you were paid twice, if you were paid in August and on September 15th for that family, then you can assume that your end of May payment is not going to happen because you will have already been paid 10 times. Okay? So the magic number is 10.
Okay.
Noreen, do you think it's safe to assume, I'm sorry, Sandra, I'm just curious, do you think it's safe to assume that next year we will get 0 payments until September 15th?
I don't necessarily think that that's true.
Okay,
I think that I think that, well, I don't know what they'll do.
yeah, exactly, exactly.
I just don't know. But no, I don't think I mean, you can assume that if you want to, if that helps you for your
Budget,
budgeting,
yeah.
right? But I don't know what they'll do. I mean, they're caught between a rock and a hard place at this point. Some people like one thing, some people like the other, and they can't do both. And so they have to figure out, and then on top of that, as was said last night, they're up against it because they don't even get their budget until July. So,
Yeah.
because it has to be passed by the state legislature. Okay.
Yeah.
And so, in most cases, they can't even tell you what they're going to be able to afford to do in terms of increases or anything of that sort pretty late. And so they can tell you what they hope the payment schedule is going to be and what that's going to look like. And they're trying to get that out as early as possible because they don't want a repeat of this year. Nobody wants a repeat of this year, right?
Mhm.
So they have said that they're going to continue. I mean, it was nicely put last night, but the bottom line is that they are saying that they're going to continue to pay in arrears. There's no question in my mind. They're going to continue to pay in arrears. Okay. They can't collect money back if they pay ahead of time. And so they're not going to do that. They're done with that. They tried it last year and it didn't work. So, they're going to be paying in arrears, but how they're going to handle August is anybody's guess.
Right.
Whether they'll do the same thing this year as they tried to do, or what they'll do. But it's frustrating to everybody that we don't know, what the reimbursement rate is going to be or whatever. But the bottom line is the legislature has to approve the budget, and then the governor has to sign it. And so they're not going to have that information until July. It is what it is. Right? So people just need to understand what those pressures are and understand that we can make suggestions about how they should change this as much as we want, but there are certain things that can't be changed unless the whole legislative calendar is changed. So there you go. Right?
So with the people who wanting to start next year, wanting to start in September, so we will get then paid to July, 10 months, because it's if you start in September, so you get your first payment in September, October, November, December, January, February, März, April, May, Juni, Juli, July, 10.
They won't be paying you in July, Sandra. They'll probably do the same thing that they did this year with programs that started in September. They will go ahead and pay as if you started in August.
Okay.
And it's up to you to get your 360 hours in over that time. But no, they're not going to make exceptions for programs and pay into July. It's not going to happen.
Okay.
No. So, but that's what they did this year. Programs that started in September, they paid them as if they started in August.
So then that it doesn't make really sense when to put your first date in it, because then you could put it August 1st anyways, because they pay you anyways in September.
Yeah, but they want to know when your services are actually starting because they certainly want to know that you're providing the required number of hours for kids.
Okay.
So they want your calendar and they want to be sure that and so they want your start date and your end date. And then they want you to say, I'm providing the minimum number of hours I'm supposed to be providing.
Okay.
Yeah, so you're attesting to that. Okay. I'm going to stop the recording here.